Hello, everyone, and welcome wherever you are around the world. It's my honor to be with you and to be the guest host of Experience the Power of Love, Peace, and Harmony. My name is Venier Wong, and today we're celebrating, recognizing, and honoring Mother Earth. For Earth Day, April 2023, the theme is to invest in Mother Earth. And we have a very special show today. We have two very special guests. And the first one, his name is Joshua Cooper. So Joshua has worked as an academic, an activist, an educator, and much more. He has worked in the area of advocacy with United Nations and many levels of government, the dean of the University of Vienna, Geneva, and works for the office of the mayor in Maui. His work there brings him to focus the area of innovation, sustainable development, and he's the coordinator of the Maui County. Joshua currently, right now, literally this moment, is attending a very special event in the United Nations for the Forum on Indigenous Peoples, and the topic is climate change. So let us welcome Joshua Cooper, our very special guest, and I'll introduce our second guest shortly later. Welcome, Joshua.
Great to be with you today.
Hi, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
Okay, thank you for joining us. So Joshua, this year's theme, is Invest in Mother Earth. What are some key takeaways that you can give our audience on that message from your area of work?
What I think that's so valuable is we have to understand that this is really our only island Earth. We must all adopt really the mindset of a navigator, of the wayfinders of Hawaii, on Hokulea, and the many other va'a or canoe. Because when you're then on one canoe, you know that we're all interconnected. You know that all of our futures are one, but there's many ways to get there. But we must have the same mindset where we prioritize our planet, where we think deeply about partnership, where we pursue peace. And most importantly, of course, that we focus on making sure that the people speak with one voice and make sure that we're dedicated to each other's dignity, but also to make sure that we're able to have sustainable development that really respects the land and takes care of our earth.
It's a very powerful statement. I'm wondering, because people might be a little curious, what are you doing in the United Nations right now to further this cause and bring further education and change?
Yeah, actually, I'm right now at the UN, and what we're doing is it's the 22nd annual permanent forum on Indigenous issues. So I'm here with around 2,000 of my closest Indigenous friends from around the planet, being from all 7 regions of the UN. Most important for us, of course, is Oceania. But what we're doing is focusing on the issue of planetary health as well as health of people. So it's connecting that both are intertwined, that if the people are healthy, then the planet will be healthy. But also if the planet's healthy, of course, the people will be much healthier. So those are some of the aspects, of course, that we're looking at. It's a 2-week summit that meets every spring. And this is the first time we're all back together in person. Last year was a hybrid, and it's an honor to be here with my colleagues that I've been able to partner with for the last 2 decades. But the main aspect, of course, that we're looking at is focusing on connections between Indigenous peoples. So we're also looking at the UN Sustainable Development Goals, the 2030 Agenda. And so we have an event in just a little while that will allow the mayor of Rapa Nui, under the colonization or occupation of Chile, to be communicating with the mayor of Maui. And they're sister cities, but we're going to have sister city conversations focusing on sustainability and the sustainable development goals, as well as self-determination, which is so important. So that's sort of what I'm focusing on right now. It's a whole 2-week experiment with a whole lot of other ways for engagement throughout the time.
Thank you. Let me just welcome our audience. So we have people from London. Welcome, Aichi. And of course, everyone, you can put your comments on Facebook, YouTube, or live stream for our special guest today, Joshua Cooper. So any questions, we're all open to any questions or any love or any comment you like to pose. It takes a few minutes, so let me engage Joshua further. I really like what you're talking about is having two compassionate sisters, yes, Maui and in Chile, having the dialogue. That's most live in your small rural community or you're part of a pastoralist tribe. Small villages, towns, and cities are the primary means of infrastructure for connection. So on that note, I wanted to mention to you that there might be some of our friends watching who don't know what the United Nations sustainable goals are for Mother Earth. Can you just highlight one or two that you think is really relevant today?
Sure. Actually, I think I can tell all of them really quickly. So, first one's no poverty. The second one is ending hunger. The third one is quality and good well-being, healthy and well-being. Fourth is quality education. Fifth is gender equality or gender justice. Sixth is clean water and sanitation, which is so crucial. Seven is renewable energy. Eight is decent work and economic growth. And nine is innovation and infrastructure. And 10 is reducing inequalities. 11 is looking at human rights, cities, and sustainable communities. And 12 is focusing on responsible consumption and production. 13, 14, 15 all really focus on what we were sharing earlier, climate action, life below water, life on land. 16 is peace, justice, and strong institutions. And 17 is partnerships. And that's one of the things I think that's so important is pursuing partnership, because when we look at the challenges we all face, no matter what continent we live on, be it the liquid continent of Oceania where I live, we all really can coordinate common campaigns with creativity rooted in our consciousness that makes a giant difference. And when you look at the theme this year of the 22nd session, it's Indigenous Peoples, Human Health, Planetary and Territorial Health, and Climate Change, a rights-based approach. You can see how really that theme for the Permanent Forum brings together at least half of the UN global goals. And what's exciting is when we're here and we're meeting at the UN, we're really able to connect. So just a moment ago, an amazing activist from Canada came to me and said she's in charge of implementation of the UN Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous Peoples at the provincial level. And she'll be coming actually for her daughter for an event in Hawaii. And then we're going to combine that with being able to connect her with local officials to see and share how they're doing it in Canada and what are some common lessons that we can both learn regarding the liberation of the human spirit, especially in this case, our Indigenous peoples, but also the important principles of the UN global goals of leave no one behind and furthest behind first. So that's making sure that Indigenous peoples who have been ignored for so long are included in the discussion and, most importantly, at the forefront as directly impacted peoples to help make the decisions really so we can save our planet. We roughly have 6 years until we face irreplaceable harm. So it's absolutely essential to bring the people who have taken the best care of the land to be at the forefront of the policy making.
Thank you for that. And we just have a few people here. Nala says love from Belgium. So you're getting love from Belgium. And Kim Taylor, a love from here in Ontario. So again, everyone, I invite you to post your comments in the chat or anything that you would like to share with us. So Joshua, you have a fan from Hawaii. Joanne Tachibano says hello. Thank you, Joshua. Okay, so if someone, for example, is overwhelmed, because often, in the word of education advocacy, if we're looking at consciousness change, people sometimes feel the issue is so big and global. What can one person do, in their lives to make a positive contribution? Could you drill that down for us, for some of our viewers that might have that thought?
Absolutely. I mean, first and foremost, it's education. We educate ourselves. We understand what's going on around us. Second is mobilization. Find out what your passion is. See what's possible where you live. And then the third one is realization. Once you focus on your education, know your rights, you look at what's important, then you mobilize and connect with others then you can actually see the realization of those rights and your dreams of what you're hoping to accomplish. Simple with the Sustainable Development Goals is responsible consumption and production. It's how we live. We vote in a way 3 times a day for most people. Malia sometimes a couple more, but it's what we eat. So you choose and decide what your values are by what you put on your plate. And so you can take actions with your own diet to then focus on taking care of the earth. You can go to be a more balanced diet to make sure that we're not using too many of the world's resources. So that's one, that's voting every day, 3 times a day. It's also how you then decide that you want to spend your funds that you earn and what you think about. And the other side, though, is we have so much information. And what's so exciting about the global goals are you can actually look under each one of those goals based on what you care about and reach out in any country. And it's a new common language because you can easily talk about each goal, and that person is then assigned to that goal, could then be able to share what they did and how they did that. So I would say those are some simple aspects. The most important, though, is seeing what you care about, making the conscious decision, and then coordinating with your neighbors. And then, of course, the whole United Nations is a possibility because every country in this world agreed to the UN Sustainable Development Goals. So no country said this is not for us. So that's a good way that all the people on the planet can come together for transformative social change.
Yeah, thank you for that. I mean, it's up to us to hold our government accountable, right? And I mean, when I was reflecting on this year's theme compared to past year, which is invest in the earth, and the campaign focusing on engaging different levels of government, you know, in terms of accountability and indicating what's most important to us as global citizens really, really do matter. I remember a number of years ago, you know, maybe a little longer than that. But you know, there was a 20-year campaign. I'm thinking like it was just a few years ago when the message started saying to all of us worldwide, which is to eat and buy locally, right? Eat and buy locally, eat and buy locally, what's in season, then you reduce carbon imprint and more. And the other thing too, a lot of people, you know, many years ago, I used to be in the restaurant hospitality industry. So being a vegan was not very common, but now, you know, veganism is looked at not just as a way of life, but a conscious choice of reducing, for example, red meats. And I remember reading an impact study in the United States. If we just reduced, for those that eat meat, reduce the consumption of beef, for example, right? And just even include, you know, a little bit of poultry and more vegetables, then the emissions from that part of the United States, which showed it before and after, it really was shocking. 70% of the methane gas would decrease just by changing our food habits a little bit more. So I think that invites us to discover all the ways, as you say, consumers, buyers, you know, just people living on the planet. We're just renters on this planet. Yes. And as we rent our time on this planet, we can do some really good work. So what are some final thoughts you would like to leave our audience with? Like, is there one issue that's really in your heart that you want to share? Is there a website you want our audience to turn to support or gain more information?
I think it's for everyone to find their place. I think the exciting part of what you shared is that really it's what is so important is we can all take small steps, and it's looking at what that is. There's a great tool called En-ROADS, MIT En-ROADS.
It's 7 o'clock.
And you can actually measure and see what each step is, how low it brings the carbon down. So I think the most important message is 1.5 to stay alive so people in the Pacific can thrive. Because if we don't stay at 1.5, we'll really see the end of civilization such as Tuvalu and Kiribati. So that's absolutely crucial. And even one interesting fact we might not consider, but education of women and girls actually brings down the 1.5 much lower than most people have ever imagined. They always think it's getting all the cars off, but I think that's really important to know. There's many different ways and many paths that we can pursue. The other aspect I think is exciting. Just a week ago, we were planting over 400 trees at Pu'ukui on Maui above Honolulu Bay. So people can all get involved and plant native trees. And as you said, eating the local food, that's absolutely essential. Many people are trying to find their food coming within 100 kilometers. And that was exciting during COVID to actually harvest cacao because I'm sort of a desertarian. And we were able then to see the entire stages of chocolate of where it comes from and where it goes till it gets to my lips and into my happy belly. So what I think everyone can do is find out what makes them happy, be involved, realize really two things, that there's solidarity and that we all are intertwined. So if someone's human rights are being violated, we should stand up with them and recognize that we have one island Earth that we all share.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate the framework that you're sharing with everyone. Number one, it seems like to me, I'm meeting you the first time, you're inviting people into the discussion. You're inviting them in where they're comfortable in learning, taking one step at a time, right? But at the same time, we understand there's great urgency. I mean, you set the timeline. This is coming from, of course, global scientists as well, 6 years. So we do have positive steps to take collectively to reverse the trend of what's happening before we reach a breaking point where it might be irreversible. The other thing I really appreciate today, Joshua, is the intersectionality of what you're bringing to attention, because I'm someone who worked in human rights for a long time, as well as women and girls, gender and development. And those are not separate. These issues are not separate at all. We're part of the human family. And when we uplift the whole human family, then the whole human family can work towards better sustainable options for the rest of us. So thank you so much. Have a wonderful conference, the United Nations, and be well. And maybe we'll meet you in Maui one day. Thank you.
Sure, absolutely. Aloha and happy
Aloha.
sailing to everyone. Just following the path of our stars to go where we all should be to make the world a better place. Mahalo.
Mahalo. Thank you, Joshua. Wonderful, everyone. So if you just joined us, today is Earth Day. We're celebrating Mother Earth, April 2023. The theme is Invest in the Earth, embrace the Earth and all the investment that we can make to change our path, move into a better direction. Our second guest today is Malia Davidson. We had her just a short few weeks ago, and we welcome her back. So I'm going to welcome Malia. We are taking a little longer today, but it's a very special day. We want to bring two wonderful but interconnected perspectives on what we can all do to learn more about serving Mother Earth, sustainable development, and of course, not just our health, but the Earth's health, the universe's health. Welcome, Malia.
Aloha, aloha, Venier, and mahalo.
Aloha, welcome back. Wonderful. So it was just a very short few weeks ago that we had you here. I was wondering if we can spotlight perhaps something you're doing locally in Maui or in the islands of Hawaii to bring great attention to water, trees, whatever it is that you wish to talk about.
Yeah, actually, Joshua just mentioned it. We were just a couple of weeks ago, we were at Pu'ukukui watershed. So the watershed itself is it's significant on planet Earth because it is anywhere between the first and third wettest place on Earth, depending upon what year it is. And when you get that high level of rain, it doesn't matter really if you're first or third. But we planted 400 koa and a'ali'i. So koa is known as the canoe plant. In ancient times, we think of when we're planting koa, and koa is like a really hard wood that you see, and it's very, very much a commodity. People want it for chairs or bowls or paddles or whatever they want to make it up. It's a beautiful wood, but in ancient times, and still today, if we have trees that are big enough, we will make our canoes out of them. And that's significant, as Joshua was talking about the importance of seeing our life as being on an island in the middle of the universe. That this is the care of these plants, these native plants. And wherever you are in the world, you have a native plant. In Hawaii, it's more significant, I think, because we're in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. We're isolated. And so the importance of having these native trees and knowing that without them, native trees adapt well, right, to the climate. They understand the climate. The DNA that's in these seeds know exactly what's going on and how the planet or the earth under them reacts, what the wind, what the rains, how it absorbs water. That's the importance of native plants. So koa for us is a strong force. It is a plant that also represents our warriors. They are significant to us, and many people are not aware of the what has happened in the last several years to Hawaii, and it has happened to our trees. In the last 7 years or so, on the island of Hawaii, we've lost about 125,000 acres of trees. And that's from a spore, not a beetle, not a wasp, a spore. And so we are very conscious of what the impact of that's going to be. Hawaii is very dynamic that way. We see the results happening when we activate, as well as when things are happening environmentally. So the planting of koa and the planting of a'ali'i. A'ali'i is known as, many people have seen Moana, the movie, the Disney movie Moana, with but our histories are thousands of years old. So Maui is the demigod, and Maui holds Manaya Kalani, which is the hook. The hook is actually made out of ali'i, the wood and the trees that we planted. So there's a historical significance of ali'i too. They're very resistant. They can grow anywhere from the top of the mountain to the bottom of the ocean, by the ocean. Very resilient plant. So they are all cousins. All of these plants are cousins. And when you see them in the native forest, they all, in some parts of the world, they plant their trees 10 feet apart. Everything's so manicured. And in the mountain, we throw the seeds in. We let them grow in the way that they want to grow, because they're all cousins. And cousins like to be with each other. They like to play with each other. They like to take care of each other. And we've seen that on the mountain, is that when we just spray seed and let them be, they all cohabitate. They're all intertwined and they all work together. So if you go up into the forest, that's what happens in Hawaii. So this is significant for us, because in just recent times, pineapple was big. Sugarcane was big. So they basically took down our native forests and they put in pineapple and they put in sugarcane. Well, those industries are gone now.
Yeah.
So we're replanting. And I was fortunate to be a part of a team, Native Hawaiians running the mountain, in the largest land division, which is, so in Hawaii, we have land divisions from mountain to ocean, ahupua'a. That's ancient land divisions, so that everybody got what they needed within the division. The fish people, the ocean people brought fish to the higher elevations. The higher elevations brought plants and breadfruit, and down to the lower levels. So there was always a constant cycle of beautiful cycle of sharing and caring. And so this is also makes us all accountable to each other. So that's what we've been doing, and it's a passion of mine because it impacts water. And we all know, olai kawai, water is life. And if we are not taking care of our water sources, guess what? Nothing else matters. Nothing else matters. You can talk about tourism, you can talk about traffic, you can talk about recycling. If you have no water, nobody will be around.
Very true. I just wanted to, Malia, read some comments or A lot of shout out from people for you and also for Joshua. So we have people from Toronto, Janet sends her love, Carol from London, Veronica from California, Diana from Germany, Anne Marie from London, Emily here from your beautiful island of Hawaii, Patty O'Neill, and Maria Fernanda from Spain. So we have so many wonderful friends worldwide joining us. Please do post anyone a question that you might have for our remarkable and beautiful guest, Malia Davidson. So I'm wondering, when you mentioned that more than 125,000 indigenous trees were lost because of a spore, was that an airborne spore from another area, or it's something that just developed?
So they haven't actually discovered exactly how to take care of it yet. It's
Okay.
called they call it rapid ohia death, and it's impacting the ohia trees, which are, if you take a tiny piece of your hair and you like not even a tenth of an inch, that's what an ohia seed looks like. And in 1 year, it takes it 1 year, it'll grow this much. So when you have 100-foot ohia that are dying, it's been around for a long time.
Wow.
The 125,000 acres is a spore that they know right now. They identify as people bringing them in on their cars, on their
Oh, okay.
clothing, on their, and so anyone who comes from Hawaii Island, and there's, if you go to Hawaii's airports, you see these big signs about ohia. You're not allowed to bring ohia off of your island into any other island. We had a scare actually on the mountain a few years ago where, and it was heartbreaking for me to watch how they test the tree, because they literally scrape off the bark, and they're testing it to see if that tree has been infected. On Maui, we had one tree on the Hana side, which is, many people know the road to Hana, very beautiful area, lots of water in this area, and they actually had to take down the tree. And for us, that's like that's like taking down one of your family members, because it takes so long for them to grow. And ohia has also a significance in Hawaiian culture. So it is the first tree after a volcanic flow. It is the first tree that starts to pop up. And
Wow.
it's, yeah, and she's really connected to Pele, um, by way of her sister Hi'iaka Ikapolio Pele. So when Pele started to erupt, and she covered so much land, and she took down those trees. So in our culture, our deities are still alive. Pele is the one of the most obvious and noticeable, because she's very big and fiery, and she's dynamic, and but we also have Poliahu, who is their snow goddess that's on the mountain. And we saw that dynamic happen this past winter. You have the volcano and snow going off at the same time. So we know that our goddesses are very present, and they're watching us. And so yes, the 125,000 acres is a big deal. Um, Part of it is, when you have native peoples taking care of your space, they will know what to do. As
Mm.
Joshua was talking about, my boss, several years ago, had been asked about the what to do, because he is Hawaiian, and
Mm.
he's a conservation manager, and he told them, burn it. It was 10,000 acres by then. He said, burn them all. And they're like, but people are gonna get mad. And he's like, burn them. You have to. And they didn't. And years later, we have 125,000 acres gone. And what does that do? It impacts the water. Yeah. When the trees are gone, the water is not coming. Yeah, it's not attracting the clouds. Much of our water that comes into our islands comes from the trees, not from the rain, but from the trees absorbing, bringing the clouds, and then it's pulling it down into the aquifer. So wherever you live, I believe it's important to one, find your water source and what makes that water. What is in that area? Hawaiians are very, very protective from ancient times of our water source. And that means that whether it's the pigs, like we have huge fences. If you come to Hawaii, you'll see big, big 10-foot fence lines along our mountains. And the reason for that is the introduction of deer. Deer like to eat everything.
Oh,
They eat everything in sight. Yeah. So the introduction of deer and of course pigs. So pigs grub and they dig up everything. So one pig can take out an entire football field in 1 week. But as we know, pigs travel in packs. So you can have a lot of damage done on the mountain in one day. Yeah, because they come in a whole tribe. So it's making sure that everything is in balance as much as possible as you can be, but it's also an understanding of our connection to our ancient wisdom. So in Hawaii, we one of our creation plants is the kumulipo, and the kumulipo from the start of darkness. We're all in darkness in Chinese wisdom and Master Sha's wisdom is the Hondun,
yes.
and how that all begins. This chant is very, very much alive still today. Even our babies are learning it because scientists are understanding that how accurate the Kumulipo is. And from slime all the way to the growth of what's happening in the ocean and the relationship of the plants in the ocean and the plants on the mountains. And if you go high up into the mountains, if you're lucky to go high up into the mountains, you will see that relationship. So in the high mountains, especially in the wet forests, the moss that's growing on the trees looks exactly like the the limu or the seaweed that's in the ocean. There's a partner in the ocean and on land. And so we have an understanding of these are our ancestors. These are our cousins. We have to take care of them. We have to take care of them just like they're part of our family, like they are a child or a cousin. What do you do with them? You take care of them. You don't leave them out to take care of themselves because they have a specific kuleana. They have a specific responsibility. Their responsibility is to grow, to flourish, to feed us, to support the ecosystem. That's their job. Our job is to make sure that we take care of them. And so when we're out of balance, and this is the beauty of I see Master Sha's wisdom with Hawaiian wisdom, is they're seamless. Master Sha says, follow nature's way.
Mhm.
My people say the same thing. Aloha ke kahi kahi or malama aina, aloha aina. So to love our land, and our land is not just like ground, it's the ocean, and it's that relationship with the sky as well, heavens. We have a direct responsibility in all of this. So whenever you see Hawaiians protesting, it usually has to do because something is out of balance
Yeah.
in our relationship with nature. And so we're on the streets. We're not only on the streets for the land, but we're also on the streets for language, because in language is the key to all of the information that has come before us. And we have a language that it wasn't written it came down in orally. So the chants that came down The Kumulipo, thank goodness, the queen, when she was in prison, started to translate it because she saw well that the language was being changed by those who were colonizing Hawaii. And so she wrote it when she was in prison. She wrote her translation down so that we would have it in English because she saw the shift happening. She knew it was going to impact their people. And it's that legacy, those tools or that toolbox that they've left behind, not only chanting orally or the stories or in hula, all of it is empowering to the oneness. You cannot have trees without rain or the land. You have to have it in balance. So I'm
Very
rambling.
beautiful. No, it's okay. I just want to read a few comments for you. So Denise Hale loves this from Washington State, sending you love. Jasmine is saying there's so much wisdom in what you're sharing, Malia. Thank you so much. Dejati, such wisdom is needed to be shared for all people, especially young people today and future generations. Okay, so I want to underscore. I mean, Malia said so many incredible things that I cannot summarize, but one of the profound images that kept coming to me energetically as you were speaking was about the sacredness of water, the sacredness of all life, the sacredness of tree, and in its natural Tao state. So Tao for us is non-religious term for those that are unfamiliar. It just means creation, the ultimate source of creation in unity is its own natural intelligence, right? And it's meant to be divinely created and programmed to do exactly what it's supposed to do, which is to serve, right? It's only when it's impeded on by human development or constructs. I want to share a story with you because one of the things that I learned many years ago is I had a fear of water, but then I just jumped into the Red Sea one time, didn't know how to swim. The coral and the marine life moved me so deeply. I just transformed all fear, because I could swim, but not in water. But so once that transformed, it changed my whole relationship to life underwater, right? And one of the things I was reading about 15 years ago, they noticed that the Great Barrier Reef in Australia were dying so fast that it wasn't just like a spore, it wasn't like a spill off. They didn't know what it was. It took them a number of years to figure it out. They thought it was agricultural farming runoff. What it turned out to be was yes, it was there and it was increasing. Plants. It was the indigenous plants they found that grew around all of this area long before it got to the water in the ocean. By removing those indigenous plants, they realized they were filtering out the toxins and the poison from the farms. So that was the difference. It wasn't just human chemicals going into the ocean, but it was removal of life that I believe the creator put there to bring balance. So Malia, any final words for our audience worldwide who's just giving you love? What can they do? What do you want to leave them with on this Earth Day, on this Earth Month?
Joshua was on target when he said, find that space that you aloha, that you give love to. You can do small steps from the choices that you make in each and every day. It may be something as simple as I'm going to do really well at at paying attention to my yard or my place that I am walking to and from work, or that I'm going to pick up something. Like, your intentions are valuable, and never think that small things don't make a difference, because they do. Every action brings a reaction. And you never know what that small action that one day is doing in the bigger picture. And for me, when we just spiritually as a Hawaiian and as a teacher, it's my job to start cleaning out my stuff. And what I mean by that is, where is your heart? There's a question that is asked every so often. What kind of kupuna are you going to be? What kind of elder are you going to be? What legacy are you going to leave behind for all those who are coming behind you? And so I remember that because I had amazing kupuna. I had amazing elders who were around me all the time when I was growing up, and they did the work. There is a Hawaiian saying, "Hana a miki oi, lave a auli'i." So do the work with excellence. So you don't, it means, it doesn't mean that you have to be excellent from the very start, but your intentions to do it well is important. So I'm going to make a lei really well. I'm going to keep trying until making a lei means that I have to gather the flowers. I have to take care of the plants that are making the flowers. I have to pay attention. Watch, watch your environment and see how you can fit into that, because every single one of us has a solution.
Mm.
You have 2 hands and 2 feet. Hawaiians say, put your hands down. Put your hands down into the ground, not up. Won't keep asking. Put your hands down and help do the work.
Thank you so much. It's always so wonderful to see you. Your soul is such a beautiful light on this planet, and your wisdom is so deep, and you always bring your ancestors with you. I really love you and appreciate you. It's been a gift to be with you twice now in a matter of weeks, and I know our audience love you very much. Katrine is saying, love you. Thank you so much, Malia. Gerd, same thing. Okay,
Thank
thank you, Malia. And
thank
I really hope to
you.
see you soon. Honor
Thank
you.
you. Thank
Bye
you.
bye.
Love you, everyone. Aloha.
Okay, everyone. We had two very amazing guests today for Earth Day, April 2023. The theme is Invest in the Earth. Joshua Cooper, who is joining us live from United Nations on a special forum and discussion honoring First Peoples, Indigenous people worldwide, and their knowledge in assisting us, the rest of us, the human race, in terms of Indigenous knowledge and perspective to climate change sustainability. Our wonderful friend, Malia Davidson from Maui, Hawaii, joining us today yet again, but talking about sustainability. The watershed is the source of life, sacredness of trees, sacredness of water, and what we can all do to make a contribution. I think Malia really did an amazing job illustrating how we're all so fundamentally connected. Yes, so connected in this invisible highway called creation. And we thank all our guests. So we're going to do a short meditation, everyone, for about 10 minutes. And we're going to meditate with the sacred calligraphy and song of love, peace, and harmony. Now, in honor of our guests, in honor of the messages that they shared with us, including their wisdom and the hopes for our future, let us meditate and sing silently in our hearts love, peace, and harmony. And as appropriate, let us chant and sing for Mother Earth, her animals, the water, the plant. And as Joshua said, human health is planetary health. Planetary health is human health. In our teaching, we say heal one, heal all. So Zakota will pull up the calligraphies, love, peace, and harmony, play the music, make a request. How do you do that if you're new? Put one hand over your heart, put the other hand over your lower abdomen. We're just going to take a deep breath in, bring into our awareness the power of love, peace, and harmony in our hearts. And we radiate that back out, okay, as service. So, dear soul, heart, mind, and body of the soul of Mother Earth, we love you, love you, love you. Will you please invite us? We invite you and everyone and everything to activate this sacred message, the sacred code of love, peace, and harmony, to promote healing, to promote wellness, to restore balance. We are so grateful for this practice, for this act of service. For those of you that know how to trace, you want to keep your eyes open. You can trace with your eyes open and your hands gently touching your finger, following the path of each calligraphy as you draw in that light field into your body. Okay? 2 options of participation. Simply sit there, relax, close your eyes, meditate, love, peace, and harmony. Breath in, breath out. Let us start. How. Thank you to the Love, Peace, Harmony song, to the Sacred Love, Peace, Harmony calligraphy field. And again, thank you, our special guests today, Joshua Cooper, Malia Davidson, and of course, our wonderful associate producer, beautiful Zakota Nesbitt. So everyone, there's a couple of links I want to mention and also some announcement moving forward. So if you want to contact Malia Davidson, learn more about her work as an educator, as a teacher, and having a very special healing field called the Dao Chung, please contact her, and her information will be posted both on the chat as well as live stream. If you came today because you were hoping to finish part 2 of the film, the documentary put on by Apple TV, and it's called The Day the Earth Changed. So the Day the Earth Changed, we watched half of it last week, thinking this week we would do the same, but things change, and that's always good. So the Day the Earth Changed, Zakota will place that in the chat. You can look it up, and you can watch that incredible documentary yourself on Apple TV or another streaming service. Now, the announcement I want to make is that this Saturday, there's a 12-hour beautiful festival extravaganza focusing on love, peace, harmony as a universal service for Mother Earth. To celebrate Earth Day, this Saturday, April 22nd, beginning 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. We will have guests worldwide who are advocates, educators, servants of Mother Earth, and of course, our beloved spiritual teacher, spiritual father, the founder of the Love, Peace, Harmony Foundation himself, Dr. Master Ji Gang Sha, will personally be in attendance, enjoying the festivities for at least an hour or more. And you know, when Master Sha's heart is impassioned by service, it could go on longer. So don't miss out. Check out the special Earth Day festivities. Join us. All proceeds go towards the Love, Peace, Harmony Foundation. And finally, I want to express love and gratitude to everyone that's joined us, everyone that's written me an email, put a comment in the chat, or contacted Love and Appreciation for Zakota. I was invited to come here as an honorary guest to host an interim place until the foundation decided what it would do in terms of its new programming steps. So I joined in February for Black History Month, joined for March for International Women's Day, and of course, April for a beautiful Mother Earth Day. So this is my last show because the decision is to move forward with new programming, a new half-hour show beginning next week. If you enjoyed what we did, contact me, let us know. We want to continue serving you further. And if you want to find out what I'm doing every week, join us on Facebook, The Healing Circle. The Healing Circle is a community dedicated to love, care, compassion, and a community focused on wellness and transformation. Fridays, okay, 12:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 20 minutes every Friday, The Healing Circle. Join the movement. Until then, peace be with you, everyone. It's been my honor to be your guest host for the last 3 months. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.